Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Impact Review for the 15th of September 2020. Better show than most of the later SmackDown shows. I love being able to say that when a brand that most people have forgotten about puts on a better wrestling show. There's not, I mean, there are things I didn't like, don't get me wrong, but at least they try, and week to week, their stories make me care more than SmackDown does. Sometimes more than Raw does, depending. Anyway, they dedicate the show to Barry Scott. I feel bad that I don't know who Barry Scott is. I think it's a name I probably should know, but don't. Anyway, Kylie Ray and Susie defeat Deanna Perrazzo and Kimberly to open the program. Perrazzo and Ray begin the match, and Perrazzo gains an advantage. She out wrestles her. Um, Although Kylie does have a few spots where she comes back a bit, Perrazzo has the advantage for the majority of that exchange, however. Uh, Ray goes for a small package when she kind of outwits her opponent, gets a 2 count. Perrazzo tags out. Kimberly comes in and gets taken down with a Rana and an arm drag into an armbar. Susie comes in. Baby faces hit a couple of clotheslines and then a double bulldog that they actually count off, which I thought was cute and kind of funny. Susie holds her own against Lee. Perrazzo comes in with a knee to the back, allowing Lee to get a big boot for near fall. Heels using cheating, what a novel concept. Anyway, Lee in control, and she locks on a single leg and hits shots to the back. Double suplex for near fall by the heels. Perrazzo punishes Susie with several strikes. Susie does hit a few near falls and attempted hope spots out of nowhere. Perrazzo and Lee keep her at bay for the majority of the match. Susie starts to make a comeback. Hits an atomic drop in a flatline and goes to tag Ray. Ray comes in hot against Kimberly. Ray goes for the Kylie special. Lee blocks it. And Lee super kicks her in the jaw, hits a cannonball, and gets a near fall. Perrazzo gets in the way, but then Lee hits a German suplex on Ray. Susie tags in, goes straight to another German bridge by Lee for a near fall, and Lee goes for a swanton bomb. Susie hits the Arcana and hits a panic switch for the win. And after the match, we kind of see the blend between Susie and Su Yung about to switch. Kylie Ray calms her down. I assume at some point this leads to Kylie against Susie, which is a really weird, simple-minded girl versus evil girl story, which could be fun. Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne. Madison Rayne, who's better than most of the announcers in WWE, run down the card for tonight. They tell us Rich Swan's in the building. Rohit Raju is confronted by Trey Miguel, and he basically says that Raju has been ducking everyone. Rohit says he says it's still between TJP and Bay, who would be in the front of the line for the shot at the championship. And Trey tells him he wanted a shot after he defeated TJP tonight. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele approached Bravo, and he told them they weren't the best man. He picked Falaba, who happened to be here. So we've got like two promotions on a national level, one much larger than the other, doing a wedding angle. Like, just, guys, get some creativity, please. Wedding angles are wonderful if one promotion's doing them. If they're done like by four places, it just looks hokey. Anyway, Triple XL, AC Romano, and Larry D defeat the Deaners. Cody Deaner and Cousin Jake. Not a fan of really any of these guys. I guess AC's okay for what he is. The rest of them, whatever. AC and Cody start the match. They try to do the truth spot. AC's not having any of that and uses his power. AC hits a senton for near fall early, and Triple XL worked over Diener for the while, and obviously using their power advantage, Cody manages to escape, tags to Jake, who hits a spear and a sidewalk slam on Larry D. Impressive power there. Near fall, Diener's double team AC and go to the finish. Larry D, but AC recovers and pounced Cody out of the ring. Cousin Jake slammed AC, a feat by any person. Larry D knocks him out with a straight right to the face for the win. Good back and forth match. I'm just not into the talent that's in the match, but they worked hard, and for the sake of the characters they're portraying, they were true to them. Trey Miguel and TJP in a good match here. Beautiful sequence of chain wrestling into a battle for wrist and arm control, and then they do counters and reversals. Trey finally comes out ahead after a standing moonsault. TJP comes back with more submission style stuff. Think Timothy Thatcher on a thinner guy. They get into a sharpshooter and go into a series of submission teases, but Trey makes it to the ropes. TJP hits a atomic senton for another near fall, and TJP keeps working the leg, locks on a knee bar, and Trey escapes, goes to the crossbody, but TJP comes back with a drop kick. TJP goes for the stupid 10 punches spot in the corner that we haven't seen since 1987. Trey blocks it and hits some shots of his own, hitting the Trey 19. TJP blocks that. Trey recovers, hits a spinning kick, followed with a Rana to the floor and a tope. Trey goes to the top rope. TJP blocks him and hits a superplex. Transitioned into an octopus. This was a thing of beauty. This probably, if you like high impact cruiserweight style stuff, go out of your way to see this match. It's better than anything WWE put on TV in the last 7 days, other than maybe some NXT stuff. But as far as their two main shows, yep, better than that by far. And so TJP transitions into an ankle lock. Trey makes it to the ropes. TJP kicks Trey's hamstrings, hit a knee breaker, and then TJP hits a tornado DDP with a Mamba Splash. Finally, Trey hits a standing Meteora with a top rope Meteora for the 3 count. We go backstage to where the North, Ace Austin, and Fulton are talking about the Rascals. The Motor City Machine Guns arrived afterwards, and they check on their to-be partners. Doctor told the Machine Guns that the Radicals were not cleared to compete tonight, and Shelley asks about a CT scan. No answers are given. Shelley and Sabin are approached by Anderson and Gallows, who offer to help. Carl is a machine gun after all. I guess this all works out. Rich Swann comes out. He cuts a really decent promo. He's on crutches. He says he wants to do this in the ring, but not in the officer boardroom. He calls out Scott D'Amore. He says that not long ago, D'Amore was a competitor himself. Not long ago, Swann had to come out and retire. He didn't want to do it. He said that he was mortified and horrified that Eric Young, the man that killed his career, became the champion, and he's requesting a chance to get in the ring again and fight Young D'Amore told him that he would not be cleared. Swan said he'd be cleared by Bound for Glory, and said he's the only man that currently has a pin over Eric Young. This is a horrible line because it means it points to the fact that Impact has amazing turnover of talent, and I would have just said I'm the only person to pin him recently, or I'm the last person to pin him, or something. But I think the word only hurts the promo here. Anyway, and so D'Amore reminds us again that Swan's not cleared. Swan said he didn't care if he ended up crippled at Bound for Glory. He wanted his hands on Young. He's begging for the match, and then Young comes down. He jumps on Swan, and then Swan jumped at him, takes him down, punches him, and Young goes away. We see that Moore finally relents and says that Iwai says that Swan won't leave Bound for Glory alive, so he's threatening to kill somebody on national television. That's not a good idea. D'Amore shuts them both up and made the match for Bound for Glory. Why they didn't make this lights out and unsanctioned by Impact, I have no idea. Taya approached Rosemary and asked why she wasn't there for her match with Tasha Steele. Rosemary said she had been busy resurrecting someone to do her wedding. Taya asked her to be there. Rosemary agreed, but first she had to do some more wedding-related planning. Willie Mack finally gets a win over Brian Myers. I don't agree with this, but it makes booking sense. Willie Mack's been defeated by him twice. Had to get a win somewhere. Myers is 10 times the wrestler Mack will ever be, but if you're committed to the guy, I suppose it's fine. Anyway, Mack starts off with punches, hits an arm drag and drop kick before sending Myers to the floor. A big dive by the big man to the outside. Myers hits a leg sweep on the ramp. Mack goes back in before getting counted out. Myers works him over with a suplex and a near fall. Knees to the back and a sleeper. Mack makes it to his feet and punches Myers and gets his leg swept. And Myers controlling the match again. Myers pulled the turnbuckle pad off, tries to slam Mack into it, and Mack blocked this. And then Myers hits a back elbow once again into the knee, and they go to a submission. Mack powers up, hits a back suplex to break the submission. Hits a spinning back elbow, a scoop slam, and a leg drop for near fall. Mack goes for the Samoan drop, but Myers dodged. Hits an enziguri and a scoop slam for another near fall. Myers went for the DDT. Mack counters with an exploder suplex. Myers is able to use the kick of the ropes in between the legs of his opponent. Hits a DDT. Only gets a 2 count. Tries to use the exposed turnbuckle, but runs into it himself, does Myers. Max gets him with a stunner for the win. Not a good match. And really, I mean, Willie Mack is a one-trick pony. Myers has much more of an upside. Even the professional gimmick, although it's maybe a little boring and goofy, it has something to it. Rosemary approached Havoc. Says she has to help her resurrect James Mitchell. And since Havoc had done the killing, Havoc said she wouldn't help her. And Havoc gets physical. Nevaeh pulls Havoc off, and they leave. Moose goes to D'Amore. Basically, Moose is having a mental breakdown. He needs help with the fact that EC3 is stalking him. Moore didn't believe Moose, and then EC3 shows up on a projector, telling Moose that the clock is ticking, time's running out, he's going to destroy Moose's TNA championship soon. Moose calls the demo god, asking about who to call about stolen title belts. This is horrible. Rhino sneaks Heath into the arena, and they're going to try and get money from Hernandez. This is also goofy. Photo shoot with Tennille Dashwood, interrupted by Jordana Grace. Dashwood and Grace could be a fun little angle. And then there is an announcement that Dashwood and Grace will have a match next week. Kiera Hogan with Tasha Steele defeats Taya Valkyrie. This is your semi-main event. Not quite sure that this is where they wanted to go with it. Taya jumps her from the start and hits her with a couple of kicks to the back. Taya slams Hogan into the turnbuckle and tosses her to the floor. Hogan tries to get back to her feet and manages to hit a back elbow and a double foot stomp. Hogan catches Taya with a low kick and a running boot for another near fall. Taya blocks a few shots and hits a big knee and gets tossed to the floor a second time. Taya hits a running clothesline, then a running hip attack in the corner, but Tasha pulls Hogan out of the way of another running knee. Taya allows Hogan to run around the ring. This is kind of getting a little facetious now with the in the ring, out of the ring, in the ring, out of the ring stuff. Anyway, Tasha kicks Taya behind the referee. Hogan catches her with a swinging neck breaker and gets the win. Rosemary never comes to help. Rhino and Heath approach Hernandez for a rematch. Heath sneaks into the building and steals money from the table. Rhino stalls a lot, and Rhino bails after the money is stolen. Yeah, this feels like a WWE skit. Not exactly a fan of this. Chris Bay confronts Rohit Raju about the rematch. Rohit tells him TJP defeated him, so TJP approached them about it. Rohit eventually called for a three-way match for the number one contendership. Next week, we will see Kimberly versus Susie, TJP and Trey Miguel versus TJP versus Trey Miguel versus Chris Bay for the number one contenders for the X Division title. And then Tennille Dashwood versus Jordana Grace. Not a bad lineup, and more compelling than most of what's on SmackDown. Anyway, we move to the main event. Another 8-man closing Dark tonight. 8-man closing Impact. If I see many more 6-mans or 8-mans, I think I'm going to barf. Anyway, Austin, Madman Fulton, and the North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, defeats the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, and the Good Brothers Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. Anderson and Ace started the match. They're wasting Ace all the way around, but hey, what are you going to do? And Ace gets an advantage. Ace gets tossed around. Gallows tags in and keeps working him over in the corner. Anderson tags in again and keeps going. Anderson tags in Sabin, and Alexander tags in. He gets down quickly, gets taken down by Sabin, and there's some double team maneuvers by the Motor City Machine Guns. Good moves by the champions. Page jumped in, takes his punishment from the champions as well. Ace follows suit and gets taken out as well. Fulton's turn. He ends up on the arena floor. We go to commercial. We come back, and Shelley and Alexander go at it, and Page trips Shelley, and Anderson cuts him off. They gain control of the match again. Fulton tags in and goes after Shelley. Fulton is not moved by the strikes of Shelley. Fulton and Ace keep working over Shelley. And then they have Ace and Fulton have problems with the North, stealing tags. Paige and Alexander work over Shelley until they manage to hit a dragon screw on Alexander and a backplex on Ace, and tag into the Good Brothers. Anderson takes the hot tag, runs everyone over, gets a 2 count on Paige. Big spine buster at the end of that. Gallows tags in, kicks Fulton to the floor, hits a backplex on Paige for another near fall. The Good Brothers go for the Magic Killer, but Alexander breaks it up. Sabin blind tagged himself in and took the North with a crossbody and a tornado DDT. Sabin sends Ace and Fulton to the floor. Hits a suicide dive to the outside. Why is a guy at that age bothering with a suicide dive in front of no people? It's beyond me. The North attacked Shelley, who managed to counter, and Sabin hits a reverse to STF and dropkick combo on Alexander. End of the match, Sabin gets a Northern pass by the North. Ace Austin blind tags himself in, steals the pin over the tag champs. North are very upset with this, and the Good Brothers are upset that they didn't get the win. We probably are going to have a 4 or 5 way for the tag titles at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Good match if you like chaotic matches. I tend to like 2-on-2 in my tag matches. But anyway, overall, still better than anything SmackDown has to offer, except the Bayley storyline. But other than that, we'll be back with the UWN offering and more action right after this.